Welcome back, Dota 2 fans, for our second game of Elite Wolves versus Team Dilecomm. Elite Wolves taking game one in fairly convincing fashion. A pretty good movement across the map. Always seem to be kind of one step ahead of Dilecomm. Dilecomm started to get some momentum after what was a bum laning stage, but unfortunately just weren't able to take too many favorable engagements, and the split push just not potent enough to drag E-Wolves back towards their base. So Elite Wolves going to be continuing their undefeated streak thus far. That's 5 games in a row in this second group stage of the GEC. It's MRP, GrandisV, your English coverage for this one. Grandis, what do you think they got to do, Team Dilecomm, to take this back to a drawed series?
Well, I think already they're off to a good start with the bans. I mean, the Ember Spirit didn't work out for them in game number 1, and they don't want to give it away to E-Wolves for game number 2. I don't think there's any surprises there. But also just make sure that their mid laner is able to have a reasonable matchup against Smash. Put a lot more focus on the mid lane, where the Wind Ranger's able to actually get involved with the team and get her an early edge, or if not an edge, keep her even. No matter what the matchup is going to be, and then rotate around with the team rather than trying to statically stay in lane and farm up, because that playstyle just didn't work out for the Wind Ranger.
So something to note, maybe that actually wasn't Mystico in game 1, or perhaps there's someone standing in for him in this game too. Everyone actually tagged up from E-Wolves in this one. What do you know? There is a god. But Kamuxi going to be a stand-in for them there. They still look obviously very strong as 4+1 right now. So E-Wolves going to pick up that early Queen of Pain for Smash. Once again, you mentioned kind of the weak point of the lineup for Team Dilecomm being Hawk in that mid lane on the Wind Ranger, and he certainly didn't get as much traction under his feet as he would have liked to. So they do pick up the SF here, and probably will pair it up with some type of roaming support early on, whether it be an Earthshaker, maybe something like a Bane, perhaps even back towards that Skywrath Mage, who has some pretty good poke. They'll pick up the Wyvern for now, so can sit in that lane level 1 with the Arctic Burn and try and get that Shadow Fiend help out with the first wave of creeps there. So we'll see how that fares. Isn't the most aggressively natured support, but certainly can poke early on.
Yeah, absolutely. And in general, it feels like Dilecomm are going to slow things down a little bit, but not too much. They are going to put a lot of focus on this mid lane, though. That said, E-Wolves will probably do the same exact. When you pick up a Shadow Fiend, it pretty much draws all eyes towards the mid. If you leave the Shadow Fiend alone, he's able to flash farm so well. And E-Wolves now going to pick up the Ancient Apparition. This is something I've seen E-Wolves do quite often, and it's always interesting to see them select this hero. It's a soft ban against the likes of Huskar and Alchemist, although we probably wouldn't have seen the Alch this game. In general, I have really mixed feelings about seeing it this early. Although there is a little bit of sustain from the Winter Wyvern and the Cold Embrace. I don't think it's necessary to pick up the AA.
Yeah, I mean, the Cold Embrace leaves susceptible to the Ice Blast as well. You can drop the Ice Vortex and put some magical damage on top of it, as a Cold Embrace only stops physical. But yeah, Ancient Apparition, not a direct, not a hard counter. Does kind of reveal a little bit about your lineup early on. Makes the lane fairly strong with the Chilling Touch points early on if he has the right supporting cast. But yeah, generally I'm a pick of him falling a little bit later into the draft. I feel like there's still a lot of strong heroes on the board. Both these teams kind of covet the Spirit Breaker a bit, and that was still available for E-Wolf side to pick up, and you definitely do want to pressure that mid laner, so Spirit Breaker could have certainly been a hero available to do that, and then you can combo up the Ancient Apparition with him thereafter. So still, E-Wolves definitely like to pick this hero up, as you mentioned, and we'll see if Masoku or perhaps the stand-in can put it to good work. Heroes that stand out thereafter, certainly the Clockwork looks good for E-Wolves at this point. We'll see what Dilecomm look to add to this lineup.
Yeah, Shadow Fiend, Winter Wyvern will definitely be complemented by this Darks here. It's pretty insane that Darks has actually been left through the pool this long, and Dilecomm will be very happy with the natural synergy between these three. Although they do tend to lead to a very passive early game across the board. Darkseer, Shadow Fiend would much rather be farming. Although, of course, if you have the setup from like an Earthshaker or something, or an aggressive partner with the Darkseer, like the Spirit Breaker, and maybe that would be a good pick for Dilecomm here. You can still go aggressive for E-Wolves now. It's going to be Wind Ranger, probably Smashes, putting Queen of Pain in the hands of Van.
Yeah, so definitely both heroes very capable in either configuration of the player-hero combinations. And
Night Stalker.
you mentioned that aggressive duo or aggressive partner And Dilecomm are going to go for that early Night Stalker. The Spirit Breaker will be picked up from E-Wolves almost instantly. And yeah, whenever these heroes have this Spirit Breaker, or these teams have this Spirit Breaker available into the 4th phase, they would very, very seldom let it slip through. So Wind Ranger Shackle into an Ice Blast is definitely a combo. Spirit Breaker Charge into an Ice Blast, certainly a combo as well. Night Stalker going to help them with the Vision, which is certainly nice up against the Spirit Breaker, but there's going to be a lot of initiation power from E-Wolves, a lot of potency in the mid game, and the one thing I do worry for Dilecomm is that if they don't get enough done with this Darkseer Night Stalker combo, the jungle isn't necessarily going to be there for the Darkseer to retreat into. They really want to be able to save these stacks for the Shadow Fiend, as you mentioned, for him to be able to flash farm and gain a little bit of an economical advantage that way. So I feel like the laning stage is kind of has to go better for Dilecomm than it looks to on paper. A lot of tanky heroes early on effectively with E-Wolves. You have the Blink Out from the Queen of Pain, you have the Wind Run, the Wind Ranger, and you've got just Spirit Breaker with a high base amount of strength. So we'll see what Dilecomm's able to do early on with this Night Stalker, but feel like that's going to it's going to determine a lot about what their lineup's able to do thereafter.
Yeah, I think the draft ends up in a good place for E-Wolves, despite maybe putting the HF Apparition a higher priority than a lot of other teams. If you replace the Spirit Breaker with the HF Apparition, everything looks pretty normal for E-Wolves. The Queen of Pain's a range here to benefit from the Chilling Touch, even if that's just a dual lane. I think they can handle the Darkseer Night Stalker. It's going to be very hard for them to run down the Queen at any case, at least outside of nighttime, and even then it relies on the Night Stalker getting enough levels to where he can afford to go for that value point and crippling fear. The Ancient Apparition is a little bit susceptible, but right now it feels like E-Wolves just have very self-sufficient lanes, and they themselves can apply a lot of pressure. For Dilecomm's safe laner, it needs to be something that's very self-sufficient, maybe like that Viper that was banned out by E-Wolves. It's going to be really hard. I don't see a hero that's going to 100% be okay, because so much pressure is going to be applied on the top lane and mid lane.
Yeah.
That they need to have the Winter Wyvern Singman and the Shadow Fiend. They kind of need to have the Night Stalker partner up with the Darkseer. This hero's for the most part going to be solo.
Yeah, and I mean, there are very few heroes that you feel like can be a complete self-sufficient laner that aren't on the board. Queen of Pain, Wind Ranger, 2 that stand out. Slark is one, but he's not great against the Ancient Apparition. Gyrocopter, generally, you feel like he deals well with pressure early on. He's not a hero you want to dive too deep, and certainly he wouldn't be dove before that Ice Blast comes out, but once it does, I mean, a Shackle into an Ice Blast will kill off a Gyro. He is not the tankiest hero in terms of raw HP. And so it's definitely tough times for Dilecomm in terms of what they want to pick up here. You certainly don't want to go anything like an Anti-Mage or a Spectre at this point. So they're kind of all in on this early aggression strat, and yet they need to find a safe laner who is going to be able to sustain himself. And I mean, that could be one in some sense. He does deal fairly well with the single target, and maybe allows Shadow Fiend to go more of a glass cannon build, building the mech for his team.
The laning stage for this Razor is going to be good, but actually transitioning into the game, I'm not so sure. I always kind of have mixed feelings about the Razor. Getting a static link on the Spirit Breaker is fairly reliable. I'm not 100% sold. It feels like Dilecomm have a very safe lineup. I'm not sure if that prepares them for E-Wolves. In general, I think this aggressive style and how their draft feels like it's going to function favors the E-Wolves side, even though on paper the Dilecomm draft looks good.
I mean, yeah, they can hit a big combo with the Wyvern, but aside from that, they are pretty single target heavy altogether, and E-Wolves have a lot of heroes who can do who can contribute a lot individually to these engagements. So there are a lot of targets that are going to want to garner focus from Dilecomm, and they can only disperse their toolkit so much, as really the only AoE they have is in the first 3 picks in their lineup. So yeah, a Razor can get a lot of momentum and start to push into early towers, but the pickoff potential is just so great from E-Wolves that more often than not, it's going to feel like they can jump into these engagements, find themselves a pick, and disengage fairly cleanly. And Razor is not a hero that deals well with mobile lineups like that. He really wants to be in the front lines, right-clicking away, having his Eye of the Storm ticking off, and getting all that damage stolen. So we'll see if the chase offered by the Darkseer and the Night Stalker is enough to keep E-Wolves back in these engagements.
Oh, E-Wolves gonna pick up the Nature's Prophet. This is an interesting selection by them. Their first 4 heroes were so self-contained that I think they can get away with this Nature's Prophet, but it's another one of those picks that I'm not sure if it's going to have an amazing time. Counter push, especially coming up from the Shadow Fiend, the Winter Wyvern will keep the trees at bay.
Yeah.
And in general, it kind of feels like a lukewarm selection coming out from E-Wolves, but if they play it aggressively and can tap into the global presence very early, that's where I think this pick really shines with the other heroes.
Yeah, so it does fit the theme of the Ancient Apparition Spirit Breaker, certainly, but yeah, I mean, laning-wise, N3 going to have a great time? Certainly not. But maybe he gets involved early on, and if they're able to kill off the Shadow Fiend a couple of times, as you alluded to early in the draft, that's certainly going to bode well for E-Wolf. So I like the pick in the sense of the theme and the ideology behind it, but certainly don't feel like, or certainly do feel like there were a lot of stronger heroes who could have kind of committed to this global strategy in place of the NP. But either way, we'll see what E-Wolves is able to do with it. They've kind of been able to throw away in these niche picks in their 5th pick in a lot of their games, much like they did with the Ursa last game, and still able to succeed with it. So we'll see if that trend continues here. E-Wolves looking to stay undefeated in this second group stage, and Dilecomm looking to find themselves a win, and they will be tied with 7 points with E-Wolves if they do end up eking this game out. And as aforementioned, though, E-Wolves still 2 game series at hand on Dilecomm.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure if Dilecomm are actually going to the second game with 100% of their full roster, or if they changed anything up. They're going to have Purge on the Shadow Fiend. Fake Purge, I think he's more talking about the movie rather than everybody's favorite Purge. Kuro, it's going to be Jericho on the Night Stalker, Hugh on the Winter Wyvern, 2 on the Darkseer, and we'll have Mrpdota on the Razor.
Yeah, over on E-Wolf's side, we will have Van picking up the safe lane. Wind Ranger, actually, or perhaps Van takes towards the mid lane. We'll see how that plays out. Smash is going to be picking up his Queen of Pain once again. Masoku will be on the Ancient Apparition just a bit, or N3 going to be picking up that Nature's Prophet. It seems like a stand-in for Mystical, going to be Kamuxi on that Spirit Breaker, and it looks like at this point the stand-in will probably take the 4 position.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty safe assumption. The Nature's Prophet will get more farm priority, and the goal for the Spirit Breaker in the early game is just get level 2 as quickly as possible and run around and do stuff. We'll have to see how much he's able to accomplish with those early rotations. The defensive power of the Winter Wyvern against the Spirit Breaker is relatively high. I'm not sure if it's enough, though, especially with the amount of follow-up that they have. There's going to be so much pressure applied to the Shadow Fiend, and Razor, although is going to have a pretty good time against the Spirit Breaker if that was the offlane matchup, is not going to be able to shut down the Nature's Prophet. It's not a bad lane, of course, for the Razor, but it's also not a bad lane for the Natures.
Yeah, they don't have too much in the way of things to cancel the Spirit Breaker, but they do have the Curse when it comes out, and the Void Mini-Stun will be nice as well. So we'll see if maybe we see a Yule's build from the Shadow Fiend at some point to try and deal with that. Should help him with the move speed as well from all this chase available to E-Wolf's side. Maybe he's able to dodge a Shackle, but either way, could even just build into BKB for much the same purpose and perhaps a little bit better scaling. So I feel like, yeah, they can bypass the mech on the SF with the Razor being on their team, but we'll see what the item build ends up being and how the laning stage ends up going. Expect Jericho to accompany the Darkseer in the off lane at the beginning?
Yeah, probably. I really do like that Blink Yule's build on the Shadow Fiend, though. I think that fixes a lot of their issues, and if well-timed, could very easily catch out the Ancient Apparition while split pushing, or the Nature's Prophet while split pushing. Both of these heroes kind of want to stay a little bit further away for the team until you either join the fight vicariously through your Ice Blast or by TPing in with the Nature's Prophet, and just making the best use of that space. And other than like a Blink on the Shadow Fiend, their ability to catch heroes is very much limited to just the Night Stalker and Darkseer running them down. At a certain point, that's just not enough.
See how much the laning stage ends up determining thereafter. Definitely looks good for Dilecomm's side, but yeah, as mentioned early on, I mean, Queen of Pain, Wind Ranger, very sustainable in the lane by their lonesome. Do have a great roaming support in the Spirit Breaker, a little more stagnant support in Masoku, so he'll probably just be behind perhaps the offlaner, maybe the Wind Ranger early on, but E-Wolves are going to look for that timing window, 20 to 25 minutes to get a lot done, and Dilecomm look to be doing the same, so it would be very surprising to me to see this one go ultra late, but we'll see how they draw in the engagements toward the mid-game.
Until then, we just wait. As is pretty accustomed inside these South American Dota games, there tends to be some sort of delay, although they never really tell anybody. The only news we know is SEC coming out from Dilecomm, and I suppose, yeah,
It was in
E-Wolves,
caps though, so we know it's urgent.
it is urgent. E-Wolves had a similar pause in game number 1, so everybody takes their turn, I suppose.
Van, disappointing on the cosmetics this time around.
Yeah.
Obviously doesn't play much Wind Ranger.
Usually it's Smash.
Yeah, which was, odd for me to see that.
But I suppose Smash already warmed up on the Queen of Pain. He's ready to go, and
Yeah.
Smash is adept on both of these heroes. And
Definitely.
Wind Ranger, I'm not going to say she's easy to play, but she's also not the hardest to play either, and Van is a very adept individual player.
Yeah, both of these heroes fare pretty well against the Shadow Fiend mid lane. We'll see. We'll see if we see the Wyvern beside his accompany his Shadow Fiend early on to poke on into Smash. Else, it should be a pretty good lane for Smash. You're gonna throw out some Treants bottom lane, and these cannot block up the camps. But we'll do a little bit of scouting as to perhaps the lanes coming out from the Radiant side. So far, Shadow Fiend gonna look for this top bounty rune. Should be accompanied by a couple of his supports fairly soon. And Ryudo gonna run into an epic battle here. Treant versus the Razor. And the Treant will back off for N3, so it's gonna look to get comfy in these lanes. It looks like it might be an aggressive tri lane right now with Kamuxi and Masoku jumping over towards this bottom lane. Don't know how much kill potential they have into the Cold Embrace, but definitely the Wind Ranger can fare fine by her lonesome, I feel, in top lane.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they actually stick around in this bottom lane for very long. I think E-Wolves do have the potential to be very fluid with it. The only surprising factor is that Masoku's down here, but the Nature's Prophet could also just go jungle. I'm not sure that would actually be that bad for him. And right now, Nature's Prophet is on a bit of an adventure. Is he going to get the Courier snipe? We're going to see another one. They're sending out the Courier to bring out the Salve, and with the ward place down, nobody expects a Nature's Prophet to be here. Oh, Shadow Fiend, how far are you going to walk back? Does he just want his block? It looks like he has not a clue. Nature's Prophet moving into position. The Courier snipe.
Yeah, he's gonna wait for it to come back.
Wait. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And should be able to pick that off pretty easily. Also, so a good block from the Dire off lane. And Courier, oh, you poor thing. Down for the count. So nice pickup by N3. He does not, of course, have that teleport available to him. But they're going to jump in mid lane. He doesn't have a Sprout and is actually going to garner the aggro of the tower. But they're going to run in deep onto Purge. He does not have the raises level 1. So feeling pretty safe is the Nature's Prophet. Blink forward, block in, right click, smash. Finding the first blood. TP into the mid lane is coming through from Curl. And the Nature's Prophet has a TP available if need be, so he can just get voided up and bounce. And if that's the case, gonna get blocked in by the units here. Smartly so, he's gonna hold on to the void, Will Jericho. And dead Nature's Prophet. N3. Gonna be fed over. Kinda needed that trip back to base though.
Oh, Shadow Fiend. Not again. This is the worst situation if you're Dilecomm, for your mid laner at least. I mean, it's nice that they get the return kill on the Nature's Prophet. That's a curse. Are they disconnecting? What's going on? Are they trying to bait Smash? Is that the AFK bait? They're going to turn around. Smash dropping low. It's gonna die. What?
Oh wow, he gets the flame of the question mark off too.
Oh dear.
And Wyvern not even right-clicking back at him. That was some, I mean, style points awarded to Dilecomm. 2-2. Early on is your score. So far it is only the Darkseer versus the Wind Ranger, as the Night Stalker has stayed mid lane after the couple of early rotation forced by the Nature's Prophet. We'll throw out a void onto Smash, and once again just kind of standing still mid lane. Smash not going to bite the bait this time though. And Purge will look to finally start to accrue himself a couple of stacks of Necromastery.
This is not something you're going to see in any other scene at all. Like that is a Peru special, if I ever did see one. Yeah, still the Wind Ranger is doing very well in this top lane, even though under tower Van is CSing very well, just pre-hitting those creeps appropriately. There's nothing Darkseer can do as they TP mid, looking to kill off Purge again. The Witch Wyvern's around the corner, but this time no amount of pretending to be AFK is going to save your Shadow Fiend, but the Cold Embrace might. They do have another Scream. The race is going to connect. The short range race, but Smash still gets that kill, and inside the trees, N3 Nature's Prophet juking them out. Blink away by the Queen of Pain, now salving up, bottling up. They have a charge in, and they really want to get this return kill. The Radiance Courier is going to respawn as the Dark Courier dies. Shadow Fiend by his back, chasing forward, trying to juke him out. They're going to have the Golden Embrace. Scream, couple more right clicks. What is going on inside this game? They're gonna get the kill. And just like that, yeah, what a mess. Dire Spirit just casually walks into the T1 tower.
Definitely looks like a pub game at this point, and players recognizing that. No question mark to come out from Ewolves' side when the Wyvern dies there, so good sportsmanship from them. Bot lane, Cold Feet is gonna proc onto Ryuta, but not gonna dive underneath this tower as just the Spirit Breaker and the AA nearby. Again, they get the Shadow Fiend though. Third death, fourth death already. I can't even count. He's died so often in this early game. And 8 CS to the Shadow Fiend's name. Smash Sama. Already 3-1 and 2.
Oh, this is scary. Down towards bottom lane. The Spirit Breaker and Ancient Apparition going aggressive into the Razor, stealing damage away from the Spirit Breaker. And here comes the Winter Wyvern Night Stalker. They charge forward onto the Razor, looking for the bash. Can't find it. Ancient Apparition will fall first. And with that 21 damage stall, he just can't do anything. This is going to be another kill for Dilecomm. There's Shadow Fiend is having an awful time. In fact, the Shadow Fiend's going to TP out to lane. Still doesn't have his bottle yet. They're still doing well enough in the other lanes to where it's not just outright over. It's surprising, though, that the Night Stalker is the one to have the highest amount of net worth since he's been involved and has gotten 2 of the 4 kills. His Nature's Prophet again looking for an aggressive dive. Not like the Shadow Fiend in the story. It doesn't end well. Purge
Scream
dropping
doesn't
low.
hit.
Oh,
Scream,
yeah.
Scream didn't even hit from Smash there, and Purge is actually decently healthy, but the charge is coming through. He's more than dead. Here, he's gonna get a raise off before dying though, and the Void will bring down Smash. Masoku in trouble as well. Splinter Bash to finish him off, and now nice Sprout by N3 will try and secure his retreat, but the Tango still in the inventory of the Night Stalker. He's able to bring him down, and now the Wyvern surviving with Cold Embrace. Charge cooling down in 3 seconds. Spirit Breaker looking to juke things out. Will be able to make it away, Kamuxi. Able to fog them and get towards this bottom lane. He's right on top of the Razor. TP's inbound bot lane, none yet. Does have the static link, has the TP, has a couple stick charges. Should be fine to survive the Razor. And
yeah. He gets the first hit on the bash. If that was on the Razor, things might have gotten interesting if the rolls were in his favor. Yeah, I mean, with a bash and a TP, they could have done it. Here comes the Sprout. It is going to be targeted onto the ground. They don't even show their attack speed for it. They're making trees to kill him off. Nicely done. Buyback from the Razor. No.
What is happening?
Sonic Wave in mid. Shadow Fiend's going to fall. This actually is just a pub game.
Wow, no crippling fear first, and Smash makes it away. He had that value point, but goes for the Void, thinking it could maybe kill him off. Ryuta in bottom lane is going to be pincered in by 3 heroes. He's going to die. It's a dieback. 5.5 minutes in from the Razor, and Shadow Fiend walking to lane. Slowly but surely.
This is the epitome of the walk of shame. Shadow Fiend. Oh no, Night Stalker gonna find the Ancient Apparition. At least he gets something, but charging again. This Night Stalker is not out of the woods. In fact, he's directly in them as the Sprout's gonna be created. The reckless damage, they're gonna bring him down. Nature's Prophet TPing away. He'll be just fine. 8 to 10, 6 minutes, and we've already had 2 buybacks, 2 courier snipes. What more can you ask?
Your pun game is on point, Grandis, good sir. It was very well played. Not exactly out of the woods. Fact, he's directly in the Masoku gonna TP up top lane. Van has been the beneficiary of all these shenanigans early on. 40 CS on the Wind Ranger, complete free farm at this point. 6 minutes in, looking good. And yeah, I mean, it feels like E-Wolves are kind of benefiting from this, especially considering the Shadow Fiend has 14 CS 6 minutes into the game, averaging about 2.3 CS, looking real good in that department. Is second last on the net worth.
Oh,
underneath his Wyvern.
Top, this Night Stalker just can't be stopped. Face booting forward, gonna chase down from Masoku. The Ancient Person will die. Double kill for him as finally the Wind Ranger is involved in some sort of fight. This Night Stalker is increasingly becoming Dilecomm's carry. He is sitting on the top of the net worth chart, period.
Yeah.
Net worth chart, period, and almost has his Midas on top of his phase urn.
Yeah, it's definitely a hero that does benefit
Fiend.
from a lot of these early skirmishes, and I can't even keep up with this. Sprout is there. Oh, it's not going to land as the Arctic Burn still is cooling down, and now Smash going to get cursed up mid lane. They come in with the Darkseer. Power Shot finishes off the Wyvern. Able to blink out before the vacuum comes through. It was only a level 1 vacuum, so had to jump in for range, and now the Sprout is going to catch out Curl. They get the Shackle onto the tree there, and he will be able to right-click down the Nature's Prophet, but will fall here. Charge is going to switch off onto the Darkseer. 2 in trouble here. Gets bashed up. Brought down Smash. onto a killing spree. 6-2 and 6 on the Queen of Pain. Very nicely played
They
by
just have it bought
17%.
back. They want to kill Shadowfiend again, trying for the raises. He just can't do it. Purge is gonna go down. They have a power shot. He turns for raise onto Van. Secondary raise connects. The right-click battle wins. Oh, Wind Ranger going to survive on less than 20 HP as the Nature's Prophet kills off the Razor with the buyback for a top. You just can't keep up with this map. There's stuff happening everywhere.
Game is hard observing right now, but yes. 17-12, Elite Wolves, 8 minutes into this one. Van getting involved, not dying this time. And top lane, it is daytime, but still the Nature's Prophet in trouble. Earn charges there, Void. Not even needed just yet. He's going to continue to chase him down. The Sprout is there, though. He's lost vision. Now the Wrath of Nature going to come through. Does connect onto the Night Stalker very late. Does a lot of damage, and he will get the Nature's Prophet kill, but ends up dying beforehand. The tick out from the Urn. Going to be able to kill off N3 there. And charge?
He thought about it. Yeah, he's not going to end up going for the Razor, but the rest of his team will. They shackle up the Razor and bring him down or bring him low. He's dealing so much damage. Van is going to die to the power shot. XP. That is pretty much this game summed up in 2 low characters. Masoku's getting dove by the Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend is going to get a kill, but now he's going to die. That's the game.
Easy game for the Shadow Fiend. Big kill on the Ancient Apparition. Smash coming through mid lane. Flying up to the high ground. He's going to miss the Scream, but TP inbound from N3. He's going to help the Wyvern kill off the Queen of Pain. No, he won't. The Splinter Blast will, though. Nicely played, and 21-16 is your score. Dilecomm looking like almost better with this playstyle than they did in game 1-2. Gonna look to chase down the Nature's Prophet. Now Darkness is gonna be popped. Vacuum back. Crippling Fear is there. The Void as well. The charge comes through too from Kamuxi. And he's gonna try and back off here, but with the Darkness popped up and 5 seconds still until charge, they'll be able to bring him down. N3 do not rotate in Mr. Prophet to this one. Surge gonna come through. Where is your hatchet, Night Stalker? Power Shot will free him from Van, and actually is probably going to kill off his Nature's Prophet by doing that. TP's inbound mid lane. First Ice Blast of the game. Chilling Effect only connects onto the Razor. Impact connects onto no one.
Oh, here comes Smash. He's dropping items. The Shackle connects. They both pick up the race band, so there's that. Sonic Wave. He is able to pick up his... What did he drop there? I don't even know. At least they didn't lose the items, but they do lose their lives. Double kill for Van.
Smash. Flashy in the mid lane, style points. No towers have even been touched all game. People not interested in objective-based gaming. It's all about the kills in Dota 2. The Night Stalker has cooled down a bit as it's been daytime and did use that Darkness. Did pick up his Midas though. In the meantime, Smash well on the way to his Orchid. Masoku in the mid lane has the Ice Blast at the ready. 2 showing his face. No one there just yet. Smash going to be TP'd in on top lane. Purge. Why?
This is the 1 in 10 Shadow Fiend. He is probably the least intimidating level 7 Shadow Fiend you've ever seen, and Smash is not amused. He almost has his Orchid done, but with a couple raises connecting, maybe Smash needs to give them a little bit of respect. The Ice Blast connects, and Purge is so low. The Spear Breaker, Nether Strike over onto the Night Stalker. Scream connecting, that's going to be the death of him, and Purge is sticking around! Shadow Fiend! He's going to land the raise, looking for the Requiem, he's going to die. That is the saddest Requiem I've ever seen.
So they had the charge available, and yeah, if Power Shot doesn't come through, they cancel that anyways, I feel. But Purge maybe tilting a little bit on the Shadow Fiend. And they're going to bring... Wow, a tower is going to be brought down 12 minutes in. What do you know? There are objectives in Dota. And Orchid going to come out in about 100 gold for Smash. And that's going to tilt the scales a little bit in terms of these early skirmishes. That Silence certainly going to help out versus the Wyvern. Specifically, and also perhaps versus that Night Stalker. Masoku, having that Ice Blast, has been able to contribute quite a lot as the Ancient Apparition in these engagements early on. Darkseer will have a mech up sometime soon as well, so that could help out. But yeah, this Shadow Fiend is just so poor, and all of these engagements have meant that
bottom lane.
There are no stacks for him. So yeah, charge out. We'll keep the Spirit Breaker safe. Razor maybe not so lucky, comes in with the screen, last right click, Arctic Burn, Winter's Curse onto 1, and no targets for the Splinter Blast, however, for Huehue. Nice bash there, and the Spirit Breaker will not get close enough to the Nature's Prophet. Scream is there, Cold Feet, one last right click, Smash gonna pick up the kill there, 11-3 and 11 on the Queen of Pain. Buyback from the Razor, Sonic Wave is at the ready, Crippling Fear goes out onto the Queen of Pain. One more right click needed. Ice Blast going to catch 3. Smash is there. Has the Sonic Wave. Is he going to throw it out? He will. Darkseer going to drop. Desolator already picked up on Van. They're going to bring down Purge as well. The Night Stalker barely surviving. Buyback comes in. Triple kill for Smash. Razor trying to find out Smash with the Plasma Field. Won't be able to do so. Now he's deep behind enemy lines. The Night Stalker picked off in the meantime. Van gonna TP back to the tier 1. One last right click. Brings down the Razor. This game, maybe the clowniest game I've seen in a long while. Desolator picked up by Van early on. Has 1,000 gold now after that engagement in addition to that Deso. And it is an early one here. I mean, Purge is sitting on 891 HP. On this Shadow Fiend. Orchid up onto Purge mid lane. He's gonna man up against the Queen of Pain and die. Soulburn will be there. Scream not even needed. Disconnecting from the game. And GG is called. Oh, Shades of 3K. Shades of 3K all over this one.
That was a mess. I don't know. Night Stalker seemed pretty mad. That is E-Wolves taking a 2-0 victory, but not in the way that one would have expected. That was something. Thanks for watching. It was at least fun to watch and woke me up for one.
I mean, interestingly enough, Smash on his Queen of Pain at one point, I recall being exactly 13-3 and 13 in game 1. You can check the VOD if you don't believe me. So I mean, once again, standout performance. You gotta be salty if you're Jericho here. I mean, 11-5 and 3 on the Night Stalker. Obviously did his job. His team's obviously a bunch of noobs. Report them all, but either way, thank you, Peru, for this Dota you have given us. And thank you guys for joining us. One more series coming your way. Unfortunately, MRP here going to be signing out for that one. Stick around, though. Grandis going to be here to show you guys the last series. I believe that's going to be Root versus T show. Game show, Global Esports Cup, America's Qualifier, Group Stage number 2. So thank you guys for joining us here on azubu.tv/gameshow_D2EN_2. Last best of 2. Still coming your way, MRP and Grandis signing out for this one.